Hello, everybody. And we are going to continue to study the standard ISO 14001. And in this case, we are going to study the risk-based thinking. In a previous presentation, we saw the PDCA cycle, which corresponds to a proven risk management approach. And to study this in this section, we have to take into account that many organizations have the process of risk management as a fundamental process, particularly around three topics, that is information technology, finance, and occupational health and safety. As a first step, we have to talk about the context. So it is important to understand the context of the organization, and this means that we have to understand the micro issues that affect the organization or are affected by the organization. This is because the organization is subject to a variety of influences which can change, and this can lead to risks in form of potential threats and opportunities. So, if the organization determines the risks and then analyzes their impact, it can encourage a planning or mitigation strategy, and this is the final goal of this standard. As a second step, we have to understand the environmental aspects. So first, the organization has to follow the determination of the micro issues, and afterwards it has to follow the determination of the aspects and impacts of the products, activities, and services of the organization. Afterwards, it has to implement a risk assessment process. Then we arrive to the operational control. This is the analysis of the environmental aspects, and this informs an organization about four topics. First, where there are significant issues, that means risk or opportunities that need careful management. Secondly, where there are objectives that need settling. Then, where there are controls that need designing. And finally, where or to what frequency internal audits need carrying out. After all these steps, we can make a planning process, and also we can make an analysis if there is a compliance of the legal framework. So first, the organization has to follow the determination of aspects and impacts, and it can make an assessment or an evaluation of the compliance of the legal framework. And based on the risk assessment principles, if the organization understands the compliance status, then the organization can devise strategies to minimize the risk. There is an important step that is the risk assessment. There is a standard, is the ISO 31000. It's called the Risk Assessment Principles and Guidelines, but this is for further assistance in ensuring a comprehensive risk assessment. This standard is not compulsory and is not intended to promote uniformity of risk assessment across organizations. However, the design and implementation of risk assessment plans and frameworks will need to take into account the needs of an organization in aspects such as objectives, functions, contexts, projects, structure, products, operations, services, processes, assets, and practices. When we apply the standard ISO 14001, we are going to make a continual improvement, and this improvement it has a risk-based philosophy, and it means that an organization can be better prepared for the impacts of uncertainty. The organization can also be better prepared for greater resilience. The results are in continual improvement, and there is a constant examination of potential influences and changes. This is the importance of this part of the implementation of the standard. So this is the risk-based thinking that is very important to take into account when this standard is implemented. And in our next section, we are going to study the process-based thinking that is another important part to take into account in the implementation of this standard. So thanks for watching.